What is your accidentally caught your spouse cheating horror story? Story 1. My first long-term girlfriend and I were going to go to the same college. I got accepted, but had to start the semester after she did, meaning we would be slightly long distance for a few months. It wasn't too bad because we were only about 2 hours apart, so it was pretty easy to visit, but our relationship did struggle a bit. I remember one night I got a phone call from her, and when I picked up, it was obvious it was a butt dial. I could hear her talking to some guy, but couldn't make out what they were saying. I called her, and she picked up, and I asked what was up. She said she was in bed and about to go to sleep. I told her about the butt dial, and she said it was her friend Jack, who I met asking to borrow something. I thought it was odd, but brushed it off. A couple of weeks later, I was up there visiting her, and I met a bunch of cool people, including this guy Luke. After I got back from visiting, I get a Facebook message from him saying, "Look, man, I hate to be the one to say this, but I think you're an awesome guy, and you don't deserve this to be happening to you. She's been cheating on you with this guy pretty soon after she started here." I was devastated, but I had to hear it from her, so I called her and said, "Are you cheating on me?" She gave a heavy sigh and said, "Well, at least I don't have to lie anymore." That guy's voice I had heard wasn't Jack. It was the guy she was cheating on me with. I just trusted her so much that I took her word for it. Even though it was painful, I was grateful for Luke sending me that message. What's funny is that most of the people I met up there that were her friends sided with me after the breakup, so when I started going there that next semester, I had a group of friends to support me, and most of them are still very close friends of mine to this day. Damn, that sucks to hear, but shout out to Luke for seriously looking out for OP. Story 2. I came back from a trip 4 hours early. My wife was supposed to be still at work. I opened the front door to see her sitting topless on the couch making out with a coworker. He ran out the door, and she ran into the bathroom and locked the door. I sat on that couch for about an hour because I couldn't think of what else to do. Finally, I just got up and left, so she could come out of the bathroom and put a shirt on. I'm guessing that she probably convinced OP previously that this coworker was nothing more than a friend. Story 3. After a week of visiting friends in London, England, I flew back to Canada. I was supposed to do something with another group of friends when I got back, but plans fell through, so I drove the 4 hours home to the apartment we shared. She expected me home at 6 p.m. I'd been up for 30 straight hours and got home at 6 a.m., wanting nothing more than to fall into bed. There was an extra set of feet attached to some asshole when I walked in. I think if I had been awake for 30 straight hours and came home to that, there definitely would have been another foot attached to that guy. Story 4. I dated this girl a few years back, and I became really good friends with her brother just because he appreciated my help during a difficult time for their family. Their father had abruptly passed away. 2 years into the relationship, the brother contacts me and asks to meet up for coffee and a serious conversation. Apparently, he caught his own sister with another guy, a mutual friend of ours, and this had been going on for like a year. As soon as he found out, he told me. I broke up with her, but I'm still friends with her brother. Go figure. Committed to this girl for 2 years, and you receive more loyalty from her brother than her. It might be time to switch sides, OP. How I Met Your Brother does sound quite catchy. Story 5. One night she told me not to come over because she wasn't feeling well. But then my sister wanted this hoodie back that she'd borrowed, so I thought I'd stop over with chocolates and a Slurpee. I knocked on her door. She came to the upstairs window with only a blanket wrapped around her. "I thought I told you not to come over!" My sister needs her hoodie. "Who's that?" says some male voice from her bedroom. "Ah, I see how it is. I'll talk to you tomorrow," she says. "Probably not. Have a good one." Immediately angry as soon as he arrived. "She did not deserve your kindness, OP. Move on and don't look back." Story 6. 2 weeks ago, I sent a message to a mutual friend asking to borrow a router. He didn't answer, but no worries, he lives nearby. I'll just stop by and grab it. I pull up to his house and start heading down the driveway. He has a long country driveway, so it's a few seconds before I see my car already there. My heart began to sink, but they're friends and business partners. Maybe it was nothing. I got out of my van and looked up to see the other guy shirtless in his bedroom. At this point, my heart is down in my stomach, and I am visibly shaking. I go in and immediately head upstairs. He is alone, now clothed. I say, "I came to borrow the router. Also, have you seen my wife? The car is here." He then proceeds to give the worst improv I've ever heard. "Huh? No. She was here at some point, though." Whatever. I knew she was there, I just wanted him to admit it. I go down, take the router, and head back to the van where I finally encounter my wife topless, trying to sneak around the side of his house. The moral of the story: always trust your gut because even your friends are capable of lying to you and betraying your trust. Story 7. One of my former coworkers loaded in an SD card with a scanned project file on it. He put it into the conference room PC, and we were treated to naked pics of his wife being intimate with another guy. We were just stunned. This was in a senior budgetary meeting with the outside accountants and auditors. And he was sitting right there, and we were looking at his wife and another guy going at it. I reached over and shut the projector off. Nobody said anything. He got up and walked out and drove off in his car, left his phone and laptop sitting on the table. He wound up driving to his parents' house 3 states away. He was gone for a week. I'm surprised he even returned back to work. I don't think I'd ever want to show my face there again after experiencing something like that. Story 8. I returned from work on Christmas Eve. We had tickets to a festival that started the day before New Year's Eve, and I couldn't find the tickets anywhere after seeing them the month before. I decided to double-check the trash before we put it out for collection. I found a used condom, and we lived on our own. That's a rough way to find out. I hope you were at least able to find your festival tickets, OP. Story 9. After a night of trying to keep up with my ex and her coworkers drinking, I call it a night. They stopped talking a few minutes later, and the dog scratched at the door. I let the dog in and saw them making out on the couch. I watched for about 10 minutes before they finally noticed me. By that point, they were taking their clothes off, and he was touching her favorite spots as though he knew them well. There was no denying it by then. I'm just glad that I discovered the truth. A tense conversation followed with both of them. He left, very drunk on a very cold night. She got a ride to her aunt's place and begged me to go look for him in the cold. They hooked up only a few minutes after you left? This definitely has been going on for a while. Good thing the dog helped you find out the truth, OP. They truly are man's best friend. Story 10. Me and my girlfriend were long distance, and she had a habit of going quiet sometimes. She'd been texting me for the last few weeks, but had made excuses not to come and visit. I went to a party that my friend had organized and met a friend of his who told me that he had a new girlfriend. I was surprised that he hadn't mentioned her, and so I asked who she was. He then proceeded to introduce me to my girlfriend. Apparently, she'd told everyone that we had broken up and had been dating my friend for about a month. Man, that is some serious movie-level plot twist right there. On the bright side, you both now know what she is truly like and can make a clean and swift exit out of her life. Story 11. He changed his phone password. I left it for months until something just wasn't sitting right in my gut. I unlocked his phone with my thumb, and I didn't even have to look as there was a messaging app already open with a girl he was meeting the next day. I sent him to work without confronting him. I then reset his passwords through a long chain of emails to finally gain access to the one associated with the messaging app. Lo and behold, he was sending approximately 10,000 emails per year for the last 4 years of our relationship. He was living a whole second life and hiding it from everyone. Our relationship had never appeared stronger, and we had been seeing a therapist weekly for 8 months to work on strengthening our communication. Clearly, he was hiding his issues from the therapist as well. At the time, I felt like it ruined my life. I remember thinking very clearly, what did I do to deserve this? When I thought that, something inside of me just snapped. I calmly went and bought a giant coffee and cardboard boxes. I packed all his things up before he was home from work and changed our locks. I don't know if I should feel sad that you wasted 4 years of your life with him, or be glad that you found out when you did and could finally kick this guy to the curb. I wish I could have seen the look on his face when he arrived home from work. Priceless. Story 12. Not me, but a medical resident whom I met on rotation recently. One of the nicest guys I've ever met, super intelligent and hardworking, and training to be a trauma surgeon. He had been married for 2 years to his wife. One night, he gets off a 30-hour call early and heads home to surprise his wife with some flowers and her favorite dessert. It was the anniversary of the day they first met, only to find her in bed with a random dude. He was so exhausted and confused. He didn't know what to do and just left and went back to the hospital. I saw him at 5 a.m., sitting in the parking lot, hunched over crying. He didn't even have his phone with him. He was just sitting there. Man, nothing breaks your heart more than seeing a grown man cry. It's not something you see often. We called his dad up and he came and picked him up. The guy ended up taking a leave from his residency. Turns out it wasn't the wife's first time sleeping around. He worked a 30-hour call and still took the time to buy flowers and dessert for her on his way back home. Unbelievable the way that she treated this guy. I just hope he's able to move past this and find someone who isn't going to take him for granted. Story 13. I was in Florida on vacation with my girlfriend of 6 years, our 4-year-old son, her family, and a few of her friends. She had been taking pictures down at the beach all afternoon on her phone. We got back to the house we were staying at, and everyone was in the kitchen making dinner. I picked up her phone and opened it up to text my family the pictures she had taken. As I'm scrolling through the thread, I see her ex-boyfriend's name. I opened up the messages, and the first thing I saw was a bunch of indecent videos of themselves that they had sent to each other. I yelled, "What the f*** is this?" Her mom turned towards me and asked what was wrong, and I loudly proclaimed what I'd seen. She said that she had gone out with some friends, gotten drunk, invited him out for a drink, and ended up blowing coke all night. Then said she got blackout drunk the next night and sent the videos. Claimed that was the only time she'd seen him. Yeah, so when she fell asleep, of course, I went through her phone again. She'd seen him multiple times throughout the previous 2 months, and I found pictures of them together, posing like a cutesy couple on their dates. Her brother and dad were pissed. I got the f*** out of there the next morning. Ruined the vacation for pretty much everyone and totally wrecked our family. I don't understand why her mother wouldn't have confessed this information sooner to OP. Sitting there complicitly while your daughter is casually cheating and messing around with other guys. That's seriously screwed up. Story 14. Things were rough between my long-distance girlfriend and me, but I wanted the relationship to work so badly. Money was tight, so my parents supported me by partially paying for a ticket to fly over to where my ex lived. A few weeks before I was flying to visit my girlfriend, my best friend passes away, and I was completely devastated. I reached out to my ex to seek some emotional support, but she was being particularly difficult to reach out to. I called her, maybe 5 times in an hour, out of desperation. Finally, I got a response with a text that read, "This is her boyfriend. Will you please stop texting her?" Eventually, I get an actual text and a call from my ex, denying everything. I couldn't confirm at the time whether or not my ex was actually cheating on me, but I eventually found out from her friends that she was indeed cheating on me. Seriously, OP? You received a message from her boyfriend and were unsure if she was cheating on you. No hate intended, but there's no denying evidence as concrete as that message. Story 15. My boyfriend finally convinced me to have a threesome after months of begging. I finally agreed, and our mutual friend comes over. Things get hot and heavy, and when he starts being intimate with her, he moans, "Damn, you feel even better than usual." Everyone freezes. He tries to tell me that he was thinking about me while he was being intimate with her, and that it just felt differently, but she felt so guilty that she confessed on the spot and begged me to forgive her. We don't really talk anymore, but last I heard she had been dating my ex for over a year. It's not overly surprising since he was begging for the threesome to happen in the first place, but that genuinely must have been an incredibly awkward situation to be a part of. I am surprised that the girl he cheated with decided to stay with him, especially when she knows exactly what ended his previous relationship. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on a new video.